I realized that none of those things really made me happy. And instead of happiness, I was actually seeking pleasure. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Wiser Together. I'm your host, Parmeet Kumar, and with me is my partner, very good friend, and the co-host of this podcast, Anas Pasha. How are you, bro?
Hi guys, how are you? How are you, PK?
All good, bro. How are you? How's Dubai?
Everything is good, everything is great. It's morning here. Should be afternoon your time.
Yeah,
So
about
good
around.
afternoon to you, good morning to me.
Yes, sir. As many of you may not know.
Let's go.
Many of you may not know, I'm joined from Sydney and Anas is joining from Dubai, and we have a 7-hour time difference to tackle every time we do this.
Yes, sir.
But here we are.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, so let's get this started. In this episode, I just want to focus on what Wiser Together is, how it came about, how our journeys came together and led to this moment for us to be creating this, and then what we're trying to achieve from this. So everyone has a clear idea, including us and whoever is viewing, what the purpose of this podcast is. So I'm just gonna get right into it and start with my journey. And I don't know if many of you can relate, but I've had a question run in my mind since a very, very, very long time, since I was really young, that what is the purpose of life? And a lot of people don't like talking about it and stuff, but I always had it in my mind, and I always used to question myself, like, what is the purpose of life? Why are we here? And I don't think it's something innate to me. It came about because I think we sort of grew up in an environment when, and at the time, like this is around 2007, 2008, when social media was really coming up, and all these, I used to hear all these motivational speakers talking about purpose of life and finding that purpose and living life from that purpose, but never really knew what it actually meant. But I did see myself questioning myself on several occasions, what is the purpose of life? And as far as I can remember, since I was really young as well, you know how teachers used to ask you, like, what do you want to become when you grow old? So I was one of those kids that would write happy or a businessman, because my dad was a businessman. I didn't know the word entrepreneur at the time. I was really young, but there's only few professions I knew. My dad was a businessman, so that's what I used to write, or I'd write happy. You just want to be happy when you grow old, which makes sense. But as life progressed, and I passed to school, I went to uni in 2015. I moved to the UK to do my bachelor's. I was just living from that perspective, do whatever that makes you happy. So at the time, because I didn't have so much clarity, happiness meant maybe binge watching Netflix, or drinking, or going out with friends and clubbing and meeting new people, or maybe traveling and stuff like that. And although in the moment I felt like this is what life is about and this is what making me happy, eventually as time went by and I approached the end of my university experience, I started reflecting back on it, and I realized that none of those things really made me happy. And instead of happiness, I was actually seeking pleasure. Now I want to make a very clear differentiation here between happiness and pleasure. Happiness, some clear differences to put out there are that happiness comes from within and pleasure comes from outside doing certain things. Pleasure is very short-lived, and happiness is long-term. And with pleasure, it's like an up and down. Like once you get it, you get through it, and then you want it again. It's very addictive in a way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But pleasure is just that state of being where you're just at peace with anything and everything around you and within you. May sound very deep at this point, but we all have our own definitions for it and explaining happiness in our own ways. This is my way of it, and as we go along this journey, I'll make it more and more clear, because it's a very complicated subject, right? Anyway, so this was a realization towards the end of my university experience that, okay, what I'm doing is, those are pleasure-seeking activities. It's not happiness, right? And I was able to, and this was the time when I stumbled upon meditation and how monks live and what they do and how they're able to kind of control their mind, be aware of all the thoughts they have, be present, and lead life from that perspective. And there is sort of their awareness is on a level where sort of no external energy can infiltrate or influence the outcome of your being. So like if you're angry at me, generally my reaction would have been to be in anger as well, right? But with meditation, I feel like the more and more you do it, the more aware you become of yourself and your thoughts and your observations. You create a gap between your understanding of a certain experience and then reacting to that experience, right? So that being said, I discovered that if there is anything to be achieved in life, there is only one hurdle that you have to overcome, and it's the mind, right? And I started experimenting more and more with it. Your mind is the most complicated, most complex, and maybe powerful organ in the body, right? It lives with you 24/7. You sleep with it, you wake up with it, you eat with it, you go out with it. It's with you 24/7. So any limitations you have, any doubts you have in your mind, be it with anything you're trying to achieve, be it something as simple as even going to the gym, right? It's your mind that gives up first, right? And at the core, there is three things that mind wants to do. It is that the mind wants to keep you occupied with its thoughts. On average, you get 70,000 thoughts per day.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So 24/7.
That is.
24/7, you're occupied and just at the mercy of those thoughts. And those thoughts that are coming, they are sort of an accumulation of how you've unwrapped certain experience that you've had throughout your lifetime and how you've unwrapped them in your brain, like what you got out of those experience, and that data is being collected throughout your lifetime, and eventually it builds an algorithm, and based on that algorithm it gives you certain thoughts, right? But at the core of it, it wants to keep you occupied always with thoughts about past or the future. Secondly, the mind always wants to be comfortable, always. If you try to do anything uncomfortable, you will literally observe the mind crying, giving you thousands and thousands of excuses as to why you should not do it or why you should delay it, and find a way to avoid that uncomfortable experience that you might be trying to go towards. And thirdly and lastly, we're pleasure seeking human beings. The mind is always seeking pleasure in different ways, right? And in it kind of works back to what I said before, like in seeking pleasure, the mind finds you occupied in that pleasure. So be it like you're eating unhealthy food, or you're drinking, or any pleasure seeking activity. I don't want to, because it can be different for everyone. Any pleasure seeking activity, the mind is always trying to, it's in us, the mind always wants to seek pleasure. So that's why you feel comfortable doing things that are easy and enjoyable and pleasureful, like watching Netflix, or eating a dessert, or going out with friends and drinking and chilling and partying and whatnot. But when it comes to hard work, or some kind of physical activity, or doing something that is outside your comfort zone, maybe facing your fears, going over your limitations, the mind will try and stop you at all costs, because that's what it's designed to do, right? So through meditation, I discovered that this is the biggest hurdle. Like, if you're able to separate your consciousness from the thoughts of the mind, you understand me? If you're able to separate your consciousness from the thoughts of your mind and just be observant of the thoughts it's giving to you, and why those thoughts are there, where they're coming from, where they originate from, because obviously every thought that comes to you has an underlying it's coming from your past somehow. It's related to your past, right? So just practicing more and more observing rather than reacting to those thoughts, and just understanding why they're there, and creating that gap and space between the thoughts that you receive and the reaction you have based on those thoughts, and just creating a gap between that is so powerful. And that's where you're present, and as they call it, you're enlightened, right? And that is the time where you are no longer a slave to your circumstances. You're not reacting to life as you go about. You're not just moving as the wind, wherever the wind takes you, right? You're not living under the the dynamics of the circumstances of your life. You know, you're not you're not a slave to your circumstances. It's you can find that space to kind of reimagine, readjust, rethink your reactions to certain things, and then that's in that space you can find a way to overcome those thoughts, overcome those doubts, and overcome those limitations in a way, and basically kind of create your own identity in a way. You're not just living to your circumstances. So this is a discovery I had, and after I moved out of uni, I was just not in a very happy place. I was struggling a lot. I didn't know who I was. I was a slave to the circumstances. I was just living a life as my surroundings were those surroundings were, they're kind of like forces, and they're taking you in certain direction here and there. And although like I was privileged enough, I grew up in a very good environment with my family, financially, emotionally, good friends, good family. There isn't anything that my parents didn't give me. And then I was just questioning myself, why am I not able to find that drive or purpose or whatnot? And I started meditating 5-10 minutes every day, and this is after uni. So I did that for 2 years, and although I saw a bit of difference, there wasn't much going on there. And then in 2022, I was about to move to Australia. I decided I need to give it more attention and in a way like explore this more, because there is definitely something there. And end of 2021, before moving to Australia, I went to Nepal and I lived in a monastery as a monk about 5 to 6 days, where we were meditating 8-9 hours a day. And that's where I was able to really solidify and understand these ideas and understand what consciousness is, what your mind is, and how to separate them and live life and not reacting to the thoughts of the mind, but being observant of what it's saying to you and just filtering out the negative energy and focusing on the positive one and whatnot. And as I did that in 2022, my life completely changed in a lot of ways. I saw a big shift in my life. I stopped. So because I remember like in 2021, we were kind of like, we used to see each other a lot because I was living in Dubai as well at the time.
Yes.
And then when I moved to, and you remember how I was in 2021, I was, you'd see me drinking every weekend, getting hammered, going out 2-3 times a week. I used to sleep at 5-6 a.m. every Friday night, Saturday night, playing FIFA and whatnot. And then in 2022, everything completely changed. Started going to bed early, waking up early, and started taking on different habits that kind of serve me, and not doing things that don't serve me, like drinking mindlessly every weekend for 6, 7, 8 hours, which honestly serves no purpose, right? And we'll get into
it doesn't,
yeah. And we'll get into how these habits are like, it's like an energy. You caught onto it and it changes one thing, then it changes 4 things, then 20 things, then 100 things. It's exponential, right? The growth. And one thing, just focusing on that one simple thing, overcoming the mind and being aware of the mind and your thoughts, and creating that gap and separation that I was talking about. So much came out of that, and one thing led to another. And as we go along this journey, I want to share more on the kind of habits and how it changed me. But the shift I saw was honestly monumental, to say the least. I was the person I've been in 2022 and 2023.
Yeah, no, it shows now. It shows it's been, like you said, quite exponential.
Yeah, and as I sat on this discovery for a year, and I started to solidify the new habits I formed through it, and solidify that, and really like sit deep into it, have a deeper understanding of it, and explore it more and more. And as I did that, I started sharing that experience and that finding and that discovery with other people as well in my own ways. And then in 2022, I went for a silent retreat again, where it's called Vipassana, so it's a silent retreat. It's kind of like a monastery experience where you can't talk, no eye contact, no reading, no working out, nothing. It's like the idea of it is to just be with your mind 24/7, like with yourself, without any external distractions or whatever you may want to call it. So I did that for another 6 days in Bali, and as I'm diving more and more deeper into it, it's just so powerful, and I'm seeing my life change on so many levels, right? Just waking up early, and there's a bunch of stuff which we'll get into, but I never really thought that I was the person who used to go to sleep at 6 a.m. in 2021, and now I wake up at 4:35 a.m. So it's like I never, and even my friends and my family, my siblings, like they never obviously saw it coming as well. Neither did I. So anyway, as I did more and more of this, and as I've been sitting on this mine of gold that I call it. I'm seeing my life unfold in a very positive way for myself, and I'm seeing myself do good things. Honestly, I haven't accomplished even 1% of what I want to do, but this is just the start, and that is why I wanted to document this journey from the start. So
Inshallah.
as I got to this level, I had an idea which I was working on for some time, and it comes from the mindset where, like, I genuinely believe everything is in life is I'm a huge believer in energy, as you know. I believe in spirituality, energy, humanity, karma, that kind of stuff, and I genuinely believe the energy you release is the energy you attract, right? And if you're just something as simple as smiling at other people, or just talking about these kind of stuff which help you grow in life and become a better version of yourself in life, and just getting the conversation going in that direction, it's kind of a release of an energy as well, right? And life gives you what you focus on, right? If you focus on shit's all you're gonna get, right? But if you focus on whatever you focus on, that's what you'll get. Like a simple example, bro, just you can experiment it as well. Just think of a certain car or whatever, and just focus on that car. Once you go out, that's the car you'll see the most. Or focus on think of a just number, and just focus on that number and keep repeating it, and you'll see that your mind will kind of pick up on that number. So, like, generally what I'm trying to say is you get what you focus on, right? So I just wanted to get the conversation going in this direction. So that's how the idea of Wiser Together came about, creating a platform where I can have those conversations, and the primary goal of it is to share the bomb of knowledge that I am to acquire from this discovery. And sharing goes both ways. It's not just me sharing something, it goes both ways. So it's for me to it's an opportunity for me to get the conversation going in this direction, and obviously just talking about it would help me learn a lot, which would eventually help me share more again. Does it make sense? And then
It does.
yeah, and then amplify that energy through sharing and conversation, and having that platform to do it. And then as we go along, and like I said, this is just the start. This is a platform for me to document this journey, and for yourself as well.
Yes.
And I really journaled on this podcasting theme, how to go about it, if it's the right thing to do, and I really sat on this, and I did a cool little project in January, as you already know. It was called Project Deep Dive, in case I refer back to it sometime in the future episodes, so you know what I'm talking about. And it was basically an attempt at having those conversations with my friends, and that's how I started with 10 of my friends. And those conversations, even though like these friends I've known for such a long time, but that 1 hour conversation was genuinely more meaningful than the years and years of conversations we have compiled together, right? So this platform is a way for me and you to have those conversations and get and document this journey. As I decided to do this, there's only like a few couple of friends that I felt like were kind of on the same page, trying to get to the same destination in their own ways, and you were one of them. And you've had your own fair share of journey, and then obviously I reached out to you, and then we discussed how this project would sink in together for both of us and works for the both of us, and it's just that common space we share. So hence I've talked so much. This is the first time, so
Of course.
but yeah, I
It's
contacted
really
you.
it's really important. It's go ahead. The world must know.
Yes, so I just wanted to find a different way, because a lot of people still used to see me that same person that I was, but I don't know who that. I genuinely can't relate to the person that I was before, and people still see me like that and talk to me like that, or still think of me like that, but I'm not that person, and I wanted to put it out there somehow, and I was just kind of considering different options, but I felt like starting doing it in the first episode of that podcast would be a good introduction, and then taking things along from there would be a good start.
Yes.
But that being said, that's how the idea of Wiser Together came about, and I really wanted Anas to join me on this journey, as I felt like we were kind
Got
of
it, bro.
walking on the same path. But I just want to give Anas the opportunity to share from his perspective how his journey went along and how we got here as well, and then we can talk about what we want to achieve from Wiser Together.
Thank you. And I call him PK. That's short for Parmeet Kumar.
Yeah.
So you'll be hearing that a lot. And I feel like what you've shared right now with everyone was, you see, it takes a lot of courage to share quite boldly and quite confidently what you said, and you have spoken in such a bold and truthful manner that is just these things, you see, it takes time, so no worries about that. I mean, you guys, you'll be hearing us talk a lot. So you'll have to get used to it, because these things, you know, they take time. You have to find the correct words, and it's not easy to share. It's in this day and age when everyone tries to share things just for the heck of it and not actually mean what they're trying to say, you know. So it takes truth, it takes honesty, and it takes courage. So thank you for sharing that. And yes, exactly, Parmeet, I think we linked up last year when he came, and we sort of I picked him up from the airport. We had lunch, and then on our way back he was showing me his little device, which I think is pretty cool. So
It's called
over there he had
Remarkable.
journal. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So he had journaled everything over there, and I was quite surprised because this guy was not known for these things. So I was like, damn, things have changed. So circling back, I mean, you guys heard what Parmeet had to say, and I've known Parmeet for the past, I think, 10 years now. So it's been an honor, it's been a privilege. I mean, he's quite an
Likewise.
amazing friend,
Likewise.
quite an amazing human being, and it's always positive vibes with him and always good memories with him. For me, this I mean, I don't know, my journey has been quite like a roller coaster. I've always had this thing inside me. I've never been able to recognize it. I mean, I've always somehow used to end up being the odd one out. I don't know, like living in Karachi, Pakistan, it was quite a different experience. I used to always do things which people normally wouldn't do, like my friends normally wouldn't do. I have had this conversations, these ideas, these extracurricular activities that my different friends wouldn't do, but I always used to end up doing these things, and I always used to think that why am I doing these things, and why other people aren't doing these things. So I don't know, it was always inside of me, and from school, high school, college, university, I've just been engaged in these things, and I'm really sorry, there's this something flying around me trying to distract me, trying to not let the truth out, but it's gone now. Anyways, yes, so what I was trying to say is that I've always had this thing inside me to do more. I've never been able to put a finger around it, and what I'm just really happy about is that despite everything, not even if my friends were not the ones doing those things, I always used to do it. I always used to believe in doing more than what was being done. I didn't necessarily believe in meaningless daily hangouts. I used to do, but again, at the
Yeah.
same time, try to keep myself busy as well. And I feel like Alhamdulillah, throughout those years, those experience, sort of like indirectly, like in a very subconscious level, they influenced me a lot. Anyways, years went by, um, and I always used to feel like that I was like just like floating, just endlessly, mindlessly, just going about, and didn't used to have any goals or anything like that. But again, the drive was there to do something different, to do more. So I think I channelized that into extracurricular activities, like volunteering, sports, public speaking. Man, so many things. I can't even recall. It's just been a long, long ride. Um, and the one thing was for sure that no one was there to guide me, no one was there to mentor me. I've always had people, friends that I used to look up to, but no one really, took like an interest in me more than I did in myself. And it was like a self-tutoring sort of a thing. Anyways, so I continued to do my things, and somehow, even with like 10% of the effort that I could put in, I used to end up doing amazing, miraculous things, which I'm really proud of, and which we'll get into as we move throughout the episodes.
Yeah.
So, like looking back on my life, I'm 27 now, but looking back on my life from those time, I'm really happy to have been a part of those things. But yeah, again, those things, like on a very subliminal level, quite, changed me. I never thought that they would be like training me for the person that I would become today. But yes, they played a huge part of it. Like
Yeah.
I call my experiences as my mentors, and as like a person would have like a person in their life mentoring them, teaching them ropes of life. But these experiences were sort of my mentors. Anyway, so as life went by, high school went by, then I joined university. Again, same things at university. 4 years went by in a flash. And then, the pandemic happened. Pandemic really put things into perspective, like everyone was inside, everyone was, restricted. They weren't able to do the things that they were supposed to do, and they used to do. So I sat down, and it all started with a Google sheet, honestly. And this first tab was called policies, and over there I just started writing policies for life. I before prior to this, I had not read a book. I had no idea about philosophy. I had no idea about what life was. Again, like I said, I just used to do what my parents taught me, in terms of doing the right thing and what makes you feel right, and doing things that just quite literally made you feel happy to go to sleep. Like when you're just closing your eyes, there's no sense of guilt. There's no sense of anything at all. I've had people who've done things unfair to me, and based on those experiences, I've learned not to do those things to other people. So although I believe I possess quite a powerful personality, I've never used it for anything malicious or anything. Yes, I mean, like I've always gotten by just doing the right thing, and just even if something negative used to happen, like you said, focusing on shit, or focusing on bad things happen to you, and then you're surrounded by bad people. So I've always used to stay away, and never used to indulge in those companies. So I've always had like a very less dramatic, very enjoyable, very good, like simple life. Anyway, so these things, quite literally shaped me a lot, and that policies sheet, I still have it with me. We're at policy number 23 now. I don't know by the time that I die how many policies I will have, but it all started with that one tab on that Google sheet, and I wrote down those policies. Simple things such as own your screw ups. Do not make promises that you can't keep, and because these things used to give me sort of anxiety that if you make promises you're not able to keep, then that made me feel guilty, that made me feel like I'm betraying a trust, I'm betraying a commitment, these things.
It's
because,
like betraying yourself in a way, because like at the end of the day, you're only as good as your word. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you can't hold up to that promise or that word, then it's kind of betraying your own. Like it shows the amount of self-respect you have for yourself.
Absolutely, it's quite easy to betray yourself. It's if it's someone else, then it's not that easy. But for you yourself, you need to keep promises to yourself as well, commitment as yourself as well, because you should actually the most respectful person in the world or the thing should be you yourself. So yes, these policies had those ideas, and by no means I'm saying I'm a saint or anything like that. When I say that I had not used my personality for anything malicious, at least as far as I know, what people have told me, I have not. If someone used to tell me, I also have this policy of not repeating that thing. If Parmeet tells me that, Anas, do not do X ever again, I'll make sure to not do X ever again, because I believe that is taking away from energy. I also believe in energy. I also believe in value of time, and I believe that repeating mistakes or repeating those things takes away from those things. So yes, it all started from those policies, and those policies really gave me a perspective into life. They really set those boundaries, set those limitations, set those flooring and ceiling of how I should spend life and how I should go about my relationships, my activities, my things. Because as I mentioned before that, I had an idea, I had the push, I had the desire, had the experiences, but never really knew the road where I should be going. I guess I should have read a lot of books before. Maybe that should have given me perspective, but at the same time, I'm just so happy that this is something that I figured out on my own. And now when I read books, a lot of characteristics, a lot of processes, they're just same. In fact, what Parmeet does in form of journaling and his very cool thing, I do that in my Google Sheet. I try to password protect it, but it is not password protected. So if some hacker tries to hack it, my whole life could be outside. It could be outside, but which I'm not afraid. I mean, that is fine.
I think it
so
started
yes,
at the same time for both of us in a way. Like this was a time where you were we had that spark where you were sort of questioning yourself as well internally, and I was as well. But our external circumstances were still the same, I believe, and how we were still kind of reacting to our circumstances, reacting to life as it is, just flowing with the wind wherever it takes us. And what's very cool and good about this journey that we started together is that we kind of I saw the shift in you around the same time I saw it in me, right? And I don't know if that's a coincidence or whatnot, but it kind of started to happen. Like you can really know if it's changing your life when you see it change it on the outside, right? We have a lot of thoughts going on in our mind, like everybody's an Einstein in their mind. But if it doesn't lead to anything substantial and tangible, then what's the point of it, right?
Actually, this is what was frustrating for me, because I actually used to believe, and that goes for everyone. I believe everyone is an Einstein, everyone is amazing, everyone is excellent. But what is the point if you live your life not realizing that, not touching that? And the pandemic really put a perspective on it. Staying at the house, having this weird routine, staying up all night, and I was in my last year of graduation, and by this time I used to read history as well, and I used to see that people our age at this time had done so much, had achieved so much, not on a personal level, but on a level that is having like a collateral positive. So anyways, inspiring, yeah. So I again I was not happy. Simply I was not happy with my life. Again, yes, friends, family, everything was there, a roof under our head, warm food, nothing to worry about, whereas so many people in the world during pandemic were worried about a lot of things. So
Yeah.
but despite having that privilege, despite having those resources, there was not a feeling of content there. I was just not complacent. I felt like, no, there's something that needs to be done more. And during that time, I'll also share this, that Parmeet and I started a venture as well in the world of e-commerce. And through him, basically, I'll give him this credit uh, for sure, that through him, the current job that I am in is partly because of him, because he introduced me to that word. So I'm really thankful him for that.
Thank you,
And
bro. Like, it's
no,
you
of course,
you
you see,
say that a lot, and I am just really
you see, no, because I don't shy away from giving credit. A lot of people say that,
As you shouldn't,
like,
yeah.
yes, and in my entire life, I'll just stray away for a minute over here. I've been criticized a lot for being too nice, for being too just humble, just this and that, my friends used to say, do not be like this, do not be like that, but I do not shy away. I believe that is not your weakness, that makes you much more powerful.
That's your strength.
And
yeah.
exactly, and you see, because of a friend like him, for something that he introduced me to, it turned out to be a collateral positive for me and my family. So I really do appreciate that, and I really do encourage people to find friends like us, who always push for the better. But anyways, going back to the topic, pandemic happened. I started working with Parmeet, and both of us, by the end of 2020, I believe, decided to move abroad. He was going to Australia to pursue masters,
And I think you went to Dubai in end of 2020, I believe, and I came in
Yes,
2021 in Jan 20. I think so. Yeah.
Yes, correct. That is the timeline. And then I moved to Dubai in search of a career, in search of a job, because Karachi really did not. Karachi just felt like a rat race. Too many graduates with not a lot of like, I would say, qualified companies to hire them and to have a career. So it definitely felt like
And
a
the
rat race.
society is just not. They're just not talking about the right things, not doing the right things. There's just a lot of taboo around talking about things that can help you grow or improve.
But of course, you see, that is what I'm saying.
Like,
See,
even
that
being
is-
nice,
yeah.
something like you, I know this. Like, if you're too nice, there, like, people will ask you, why are you being too nice?
Yeah.
And if you can't even smile at someone, like, it's you can't even smile at someone on the street.
We'll get to that with the what is definitely wrong with our beloved
That's
city.
Whole another episode.
It's,
Whole different
it's a whole another episode, but definitely, like, what he felt, I also felt. And again, at that time also, Parmeet approached me, and this is what I'm telling you, like, this guy is just amazing like that, because I personally, I have a lot of distrust with working with people. Generally, it is the truth. I felt like I get along with people a lot. Like, people like me, I like people as well. But working together, you see, that's a whole another ball game, and you require a whole. I don't know, man. It takes a lot of work, and you need to be very open. You need to be very focused. You need to be very committed to make it work. But I'm really happy that Parmeet saw this in me, and he believed that that we can work together. And even during that experience, and even during this experience, it is just has been so fruitful and so wholesome. So again, at that time, it was him who was a pioneer, who basically saw that we have an opportunity that we can work together, and this I really like about him. So I really hope you keep it up, brother. But yes, but then we
You're
decided to
making me
move
shy,
abroad. Yeah, no, of course, it is what it is. You deserve your flowers. So again, we didn't end our basically commitment. We still kept it, but then it unfortunately couldn't work out. So over there, then, when I moved to Dubai, is when things started happening. And I always say this, the sheet was there for me, but then it also started with these long walks. because where I live, I have this amazing jungle downstairs, and it's just truly amazing, and it just started with like what Premi said. I did not have a routine as well. I did not have anything going for me in terms of being productive. So it's just for me. It just started with walks, and I just started talking to myself. I became my own therapist. I became my own best friend, and the number one thing that I did was to love myself first. I put myself first before anyone, because before this it was quite the opposite, and it revolves around a lot of things that Parmeet said. But if I were to say that people nowadays, what they do is they seek validation outside, whereas they should be seeking validation inside. They should be just going like, hey man, the things that I'm doing, are they important? Okay, yes or no.
It's more sustainable, right?
Answer. Yeah, the things, like if we're doing this right now, I ask this question every day before doing this thing that I'm doing, is this important? Of course it is. It's something just so meaningful, and Parmeet said that this thing that we're gonna do, no matter how many people see, watch, click, like, share, subscribe, we don't really care about that. It's really a selfish sort of a thing, and that idea really turned me on. I felt that idea was just so sexy, because it's just really important to love yourself. I mean, man, like, I have friends, I have family, I have people who seek validation outside, who who are just looking for people to love them back and say that you're important as well, and this and that, and it just makes me so sad. It should not be like this. You should be the one loving yourself the most. You should be the one seeking validation from. You should be your own best friend, because once you are 100%, you can, once your glass is full, I think this example would suit better. When your glass is full, that is when you can pour something into someone else's glass. So
but
you
what
yourself,
I wanna check
yes,
is
sure.
that it's definitely 100% accurate. You should seek validation within, but how sh- how how do you get there? How does one?
Yes, because you see, like you said, that you were not happy. You were seeking pleasure, and you thought that you were seeking happiness, but you were seeking pleasure. Um, that goes into, first of all, seeing yourself in the mirror. I'll take my example. I used to look myself at the mirror, and I did not like the reflection that
Accountability,
was.
self
Yes, of
accountability in a
course.
way.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. There are. You see, there are things in life that a human being is supposed to do, and this age, this life of technology that we're in, it has made us think that no, we're not supposed to do those things, such as doing things which are physically hard, doing things which are mentally challenging, being responsible not only for yourself but for others as well. Our society has basically like taught us to be selfish, and taught us to not do those things. So like what you said, that how that comes about is, first of all, looking at yourself in the mirror. I mean, man, like, even right now, you and I, if we look at ourselves in the mirror again, we're not happy still, and that is perfectly fine. But what needs to happen is, you need to understand why you're not happy. Pick out those little things, just you don't need to do a lot of you don't need to make a nuclear blueprint or anything like that. You just need to review the day before.
Yeah.
What happened yesterday? Were you happy with the day that you spent yesterday? Even after this podcast, I'll review. I'll see that the things that I said, did those make sense? Did I speak the truth? Was I being honest? Did Parmeet say anything that I did not like? Did I say anything I did not like? I'll ask you as well.
Yeah.
This is what we do as well. It is just about reflection and noting it down, guys. If you have thoughts, write it down. I write it down on my phone during these walks. He writes it down on his journal. Do those things. Once those things start occurring to you, and it can be anything, you might not like the physical shape of yourself, you might not like the mental state of yourself, you might not like the financial position of yourself, you might not like how your relationships are, you might not like the friend that you have that always makes you feel like shit, and you're still continuing to be their friend and to be in their company. You might not like that current family member in your life, and no one is saying to abandon them, no one is saying to like give up on those things. What needs to happen is, first, to understand those things and then work upon it. In this day and age of technology, there is no excuse. There's YouTube, there's Google, hell, there's even Chat GPT that can give you ways and directions
Yeah.
as to how you can go about yourself. I am not a fan of therapy without having to book sessions with the therapist inside yourself. It is actually quite important to book those therapy sessions with yourself.
First.
Your own therapist, yeah, your own therapist might not do a good job, but hey man, no one is going to know way better than you know yourself. So
I think
if
everything
I
you
were
said,
to
yeah.
yeah, just if I were to sum it up, and of course along the episodes we're going to implode on these things, but yes, it was those two things: the Google sheet where I journal, where I write those things down, and these walks. That's it. Just self-reflection, talking to yourself and doing those things, and then once you realize those things, that is when the answers start coming to you. And alhamdulillah, I can tell you right now, Parmeet, I've never been so happy.
I can tell, bro.
I've never been so physically
It shows.
in a prime shape of myself, my mental being, my financial status, my relationship with my family, with my friends. Although I've lost a lot, but what was that? That was the fat that I had. That was the excess fat. And I don't mean figuratively, guys. I mean in terms of everything.
And the friends you didn't need.
Exactly, and having to cut those things, alhamdulillah, it's just been like what he says, that we've been sitting on a gold mine. You guys, you might not be, this is the first episode and you might not be able to relate, but inshallah when we hop on to the 1,000 or the 2,000, 10,000 episode, you guys will realize that the person inside of you is, you have a superior being inside of you. And
Everyone does, I believe, yeah.
Yes, and during these 2 years, oh my god, like it has been such a revelation. Never been so happy, never been just, every day has been like, let's go get it. So that is it. I am just would like to end this on a very happy note.
Yeah.
That alhamdulillah, very happy, and I would just like to thank him for taking me on board for this. He said that I would like to do this with you, and when someone says that to you, that is such an amazing feeling. Why? Because you see, that is such a huge honor for you, because someone
Believe.
is respecting
believe
you.
in
Yeah,
you.
it's
Yes.
exactly. And someone is respecting you with their vision, with their idea. Because prior to this, I also started a YouTube channel last year, and my goal was to, again, these things that I've understood, realize I wanted to share this with the people of South Asia, because this is where I originate from, and I am doing that in Urdu, Hindi. So when he saw that in me, that was such an honor for me, because that in my own personal capacity tells me that yes, Anas, you are doing something great, and someone else is also recognizing that. So ever since he said that, we've been on to this, and it has been an incredible journey, and I really hope that you guys also find a Parmeet and Anas that believes in you, that pushes you to be better. And man, it is this feeling, I really hope you guys also share this with yourself, with your friends and family, and just one day feel this. So man, thank you.
Thank you so much for saying all those kind words, bro. Honestly, like, it's beautiful how we respect each other so much, we believe in each other so much, and we push each other so much. It just gets the best side out for both of us. And I just want to summarize by saying, like, I genuinely do believe as well that everyone has a superior side in them, which a lot of people are not able to channel. I was personally able to do that through overcoming the limitations of the mind. That is one way to do it. Anas is
I'll say, because Parmeet's project deep dive was about this, was overcoming the mind. For me, I relate to a lot what Parmeet said, but I told this Parmeet the other day as well, that for me, I do understand that everything goes through the mind, but I believe that he has such a deeper and more richer experience to this, that still I haven't been able to put a finger on it. So yes, so like for me, even conversations with him, even offline, are a source of learning as to how I came
Likewise,
about
bro.
to be. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to learning from him as well.
Thank you, bro. So thank you so much. But as I was just saying, yeah, for me, that if you are naturally able to, because I feel like some people are just very naturally connected to their consciousness and they are able to filter out the shit stuff, or they're not as easily influenced by certain thoughts in their mind, pleasure seeking thoughts or thoughts of limitation, thoughts that stop you from stepping outside your comfort zone. If you are naturally able to do that, some people are naturally like that, then it's fine. It wasn't working for me, so I resorted to different things and I tried to find different things, and I stumbled upon mindfulness and meditation and stuff, and how to create that gap and separation, and how you can, through observing the mind, you can overcome those limitations and stuff. And that's how I was able to channel the superior side of me. And as I did that, I saw Anas do that at the same time in different ways. We had a lot of similarities, waking up early, and there's different habits that we've taken, and I want to share those as we go along as well. A lot of people that know us already know how we are, so they can already relate, but this is for the masses. But what I was just trying to say is that you can get to that superior side of you. If you have a way, you can channel your superior side through that. If not, mindfulness is something that's really helped me, and I genuinely believe it is my purpose, my obligation, or whatever you want to call it, to share this discovery experience and help kind of other people achieve enlightenment as well in their own ways, right? But yeah, I think we'll sum it up here. And the last thing I wanted to say was, Anas mentioned, everything has an underlying reason as to why you do that thing, right? If you're going to a restaurant, you want to fill your tummy, you're hungry, that's the underlying reason. You're starting a business, your underlying reason may be to make money, right? There's just so many examples, I don't want to give too many, but what I'm just trying to say is there's an underlying reason as to why you want to do something. And the biggest thing for me was, and for Anas to be on board with this was as well, that our underlying reason had to be the same, which was to start the podcast. It wasn't to make money, it wasn't to increase our following or get likes and subscribers, which translates into money eventually, right? But it was just to share our experiences, document this journey, and it's kind of an act of service for us. We already do this in our own ways, helping our friends, pushing our friends in different occasions, and I know a lot of you will be able to relate to my friends and Anas' friends, but this is just another platform to do it in a standard way, in an unsolicited way, and for the masses, and for us to just speak openly and freely. And the most important thing is, we're not perfect, we just try to be the most authentic version of ourselves, and we're just scratching the surface here. Me and Anas have just started. Like I said, we haven't even accomplished 1% of what we want to accomplish. Yeah. So we're just getting started, but it's very important that we be absolutely 100% authentic and ourselves, and just be transparent version of ourselves, because we're not trying to.
It's like we don't need anything more. Alhamdulillah, like in our life, we've had everything that we wanted to, every experiences that one can possibly ask for. We've had that. There's nothing more except for personal excellence and except for doing good for the society. That is it. Yes. Honestly, this is it, because where we come from, where we hail from, we're very proud of our country, of our people, and of our region. But honestly, it's, as of now, when I speak this, and Parmeet can also agree, our people, our region is going through one of the toughest times. So, and we're not doing this for, again, what Parmeet said, materialistics or thing like that, but through our action, we're just hoping to inspire. That's all.
Yeah, and like I believe this generally, once you get to that stage where you feel sort of enlightened in some way, nobody's like fully enlightened, like maybe Buddha, but once you get to that stage and you feel enlightened in some way, it becomes your purpose to then share that experience with other people, and it's kind of an act of service for you. So this is how we're trying to serve, and it's not for the benefit of other people. This is what genuinely makes us happy in a way. So you might want to call it a selfish attempt, but
Dude.
We don't do it for other people wanting something. We do it because it genuinely makes us
exactly
happy.
Just imagine this, how much it makes us happy that this is Sunday. I work 6 days a week. This is my Sunday. At 7:30 a.m. we're recording this. It's his Sunday, 3 in the afternoon. This is his priority.
I'm still chill. I think Anas, honestly, I just want to say this. I don't know if I've said this to you before or not, but Anas is one of the hardest working. He's one of the hardest working people I know. And we have our meetings 3 times a week, and it's 5 a.m. Every time in Dubai, and we're having our meetings, and then these are the little things that inspire me, and we just inspire each other in our own ways, and that's beautiful. But I think we've said everything
you're too kind. Yes.
we wanted to. I just, before we finish this, I just kind of wanted to put a disclaimer out there that we're not claiming to be experts on anything. We're not perfect. We haven't accomplished anything. We're not claiming to be anything or stuff like that. So we're just sharing our experience, and we're just trying to be the most authentic version of ourselves. And this is just our way of documenting this journey that we've just basically started, right? And then if Anas wants to add anything before we got.
I think yes, we've covered it all, and hoping to speak to you guys in the future episodes. And take care, guys. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. The primary goal of this podcast is to engage with people and get the conversation going in this direction. So please engage with us, talk to us, comment, like, subscribe, however you can, in whatever capacity you can. Obviously, we would appreciate your support in any way it possible, because the more people we can reach, the better it is for the cause, for us. And I think that's all. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.
Ciao.